Beautiful souls, this is Ashoo here, and welcome to my channel. And today I would be talking about something related to the ego-based patterns. All of you beautiful souls are going through their spiritual evolution or on the spiritual path and would like to understand what are those patterns of our conditioning that is happening through the filter of the ego, and how identifying these patterns becomes so important in our spiritual journey. If you really want to get past these patterns and evolve into coming back to our heart centers, yeah, like this is my favorite topic as I evolve and go through my journey and deal with my patterns. I look forward to sharing with you all that how when we work through these patterns, we feel a sense of joy, a sense of freedom, a sense of coming back home, and a sense of definitely more unconditional love inside and around us as well. So the topic for today's video is going to be how to identify the ego-based patterns. So all of us are going through the Kundalini awakening process are very well aware that how this energy is so much beyond our control, as she's trying to mend our ways, as she's trying to humble us up, as she's trying to make us surrender to her, as she's trying to bring us back into our sense of unity consciousness. But how is it possible to understand and awaken even to that felt sensing of unity consciousness if we are so much stuck into a sense of separation within our ego-based perceptual patterns or perceptual systems? So how do we identify that whether we are operating from a conditioned dysfunctional ego-based pattern, or we are operating from a functional, very well-regulated, um, definitely a pattern that is coming through our ego, but in a very healthy way, from the place of love and light. So first of all, an important thing to remember is anything that we struggle with within our body, mind, and spirit is a simple indication that we have something is required letting go in our systems, because any kind of struggle is equal to coming from the fear-based egoic sense of self, where we have learned to separate ourselves from other life force energy around us. So that is one identification that if you are willing, and I'm sure that those who are going through the intense spiritual awakening processes or Kundalini awakening process, they very well know that the energy is not going to let you sit down with a peaceful mind unless you are learning to surrender yourself and your ego-based patterns to her for transformation into more heart-based living. So Kundalini awakening or spiritual awakening is all about coming back into a heart space, into a space of love, light and laughter, love, light and joy, peace, harmony, unity, consciousness. And to reach to that place is the most challenging aspect of the spiritual evolutionary processes, because to come back into our heart space has a lot to do with a lot of subconscious data in our subconscious mind, which even we are not aware of when we are making choices, decisions in our day-to-day lives. So how do we identify these ego-based patterns that are coming from our unhealthy conditioning from the past? The first thing is to identify where there is fear lurking in your decision making, in your choice making, and to tap into your bodily felt sense, because your body is the most intelligent system given to you by the universe to tap into in order to cleanse your mind, body, and spirit of any kind of stuck energies or any kind of disturbances that are stopping you from coming into harmony with your own sense of divine self, right? And what is our divine self? A divine self is trying to come back into our healthy feminine and healthy masculine sense of self. So, having knowledge around these aspects, that each one of us has a healthy divine masculine and healthy divine feminine within us, and to balance those aspects of our personality becomes very important. That where are we stuck in our lives? Where are which areas of our life we are imbalanced, and how these areas are given power to by us from a space of conditioned sense of self. Like, where are we imposing the behavioral patterns, the choice making patterns? Where are we imposing in different areas of our lives that are coming from our specific ways of perceiving the reality? So now in your spiritual evolution process, you're required to decondition and deconstruct. And every deconstruction of each belief pattern is a hurtful, a painful process in which you have to do proper grieving in order to get past. A lot of forgiveness needs to be done, because in this process, it is only by passing through the grieving process that you are going to identify the equal spectrum of joyfulness and heart-based living. Because when we are operating from a segregated, separated sense of self that is coming from our conditioned upbringings, cultural upbringings, the specific religious upbringings, the specific ways of looking at different cultures, castes, races, countries, like in Kundalini process, there is no difference in anything, because the base of all these differences is the same. The grounding of all these is same, because for me, like, I always perceive that as human beings, we look alike. We have the same functions, and the differences is the second or third layer and fourth layer and the fifth layer that is imposed by the people for their own vested interests to safeguard themselves because of their inherent sense of unsafety, from where our default nervous system operates when we are in those pre-stages of evolution, where we are operating from our survival based brain, where we are not conscious how much a likeness we all share. So once you pass through, when the Kundalini is activated in you, or you are evolving spiritually, you are able to see past all these layers, so that you can get past these layers and you can have a better view from upward, a rising of your consciousness, so that you can see that when you have a higher view and you're looking down from that higher view, you can see that everything looks as one unit. Have you seen when you look from the airplane, as it keeps rising up, 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 you begin to see that everything is becoming so compact, so much defined as one. And if we can see the earth as a one whole that goes around in a cyclical way. So when we are able to see this information in our evolutionary journey, it makes it easier for us. And also another aspect of the temporary nature of our existence, that how everything is evolving and we are so temporary in nature. So I think for me, like, it has really helped me, the tendency to hold on to the material things, and tendency to identify that this is something that I hook my attention to in terms of possession, that tends to diminish and begins to diffuse as we practice. This is a practice. As we begin to practice more of this seeing, this way of seeing through life, through the events, through the things that you create or you identify with. So the purpose of this energy is to melt away the identifications. The more identifications begin to melt away, the more grieving will emerge from that, because our sense of identity is dissolving, and the grieving is a part of that dissolution of the sense of identity. But if you're able to take in that intense experience of dissolving, and then your evolving is really going to be of appropriate nature, as you will be able to see that how things may arise from emptiness. And this is where that manifestation and co-creation principles happen through the universal energy, that emptiness is the core of um, universal energy from where everything can emerge. All possibilities emerge, all limitations dissolve when we are able to come into the space of even felt sensing the emptiness for a few fractional seconds. That is such a graceful way of awakening to a truth that nothing is set in stone in life. So all the narratives that we have been telling to ourselves, they are very much changeable. They are very much adaptable. And I think that is where our neuroplasticity and all those scientific data that has now come into limelight is does make sense, that yeah, this is very much a part and essence of our beingness. That tendency to hold on, the tendency to possess, that tendency to identify, all these begin to dissolve, so that we come up with a new set of boundaries around identifications. We come up with the much more expanded boundaries, because so far as we have a boundary of this body and a boundary of a healthy ego, we really need to contain our energies within healthy boundaries to exist and coexist with other people around us. So the first thing is to identify that what are our boundaries around certain decisions, events, people. Are they fear-based boundaries? Because if they're fear-based boundaries, there is a sense of separation. And secondly, uh, one really needs to be evolved to come into this kind of discretion, because even if you are in a healthy boundaries, you really need to have a appropriate sense of judgment around different environments and people. So this is about your intuitive sense of self, intuitive sense of connection with yourself, like how you are tuning into your energy in any given set of circumstances as you work on your conditioned egoic self, because a lot of doubt, self-doubt, and confusion will emerge during these stages. So it requires a lot of work, mindfulness based work, or work with a mentor or a spiritual teacher, though you can do it if you're tuning yourself with the master within yourself as well. That is what my journey has been. I'm seeking always the guidance by tuning to the uh, resources within, and I feel so blessed and grateful for getting guidance always that works for me. And I hope that it works for you as well if you're able to have trust, faith, and surrender to this energy and channel the information and connect with the intuitive hunches and abide by those intuitive hunches. Then you are going to get past those unhealthy egoic functioning and step into your heart space, because I believe that it is only by getting into your heart space that you begin to live fully, you begin to live with aliveness, you begin to be your authentic sense of self. So, to identify the ego based patterns, the first important thing to do is to identify where are you struggling right now in your life, or where are you struggling with the people in your life? Where are you struggling with other areas of your life? Because every struggle is an indication of something trapped in our energetic system that needs to be released. And a lot of mindfulness based work is required, a lot of self evaluation is required so that you can connect with your own energetic system in a way that guides you and helps you to connect with your intuitive spaces within your own consciousness, from where you can channel the appropriate information and move past those fears. And as you move past one fear and enter into a space of love and light, you are developing that core skill of rising in your consciousness and raising your vibrational frequency. So I hope that this one point, because this one point of identifying where we're struggling and doing some mindfulness based practices is really going to bring forth a lot of data that will help you to identify where are the patterns, fear based patterns that you need to transform into more love based way of living and tuning into yourself so that you could take better self care and do love yourself more and establish more healthy boundaries based around more self compassion so that you're in a position to have other compassion over the period of time as you keep practicing and rising forward, moving forward and rising in your consciousness. So I hope you got something useful in this video. And if you did, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you in my other video. Till then, you have a great time and stay blessed. Love you all. Bye.